Hello out there. I'm Chris Bishop,
Hello.
editor-in-chief of 360degreesound.com. We're covering South by Southwest Music Festival again this year, and I'd like to welcome Tom and Carrie of the Welsh indie rock collective Campfire Social into our artist spotlight. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Hey.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, awesome. So, like many of the best things in life, I encountered Campfire Social on my way to somewhere else that seemed very important. Once I heard their irresistible, deep, and splashy brand of indie pop, I forgot where I was going and hung out listening to their first full-length release. They sound the same underwater. Their lyrics are often achingly introspective, but their sound is a full-on celebration of groove, melody, and inventive musicianship. And I'm assuming they've tried and discovered that these songs do indeed sound the same underwater. Is that true?
It's kind of slightly tested by us all being underwater.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
But it did sound a bit more like screams for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the swim, swam, swim video, you were in a pool, so
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got the recordings of us trying to sing underwater for the
well, that'll be on the box set later.
Yeah.
Deluxe edition.
That's right. Well, I'm really excited for your set at South by. Honest to God, I'd heard a lot about Adjoa, so I was looking her up. Then I saw that you guys were going to be on the showcase at Creek and Cave for the Focus Wales thing, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna check those guys out. And it just I connected with your stuff immediately. Yeah. So Campfire Social are a constantly evolving 12-legged gang of friends. So I'm told.
Yes.
But your name conjures an image for me of friends gathered around a bonfire, grabbing an instrument and joining in. So tell me a little bit about your music collective.
That what you just said is perfect. Yeah. It's
okay, we're done here then. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Nice one. You seem to get it.
That was so
easy. So a lot of us were in a previous band called Shy and the Fight. We're not talking about that band today. Do that.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so we're good.
Yeah. When we decided to start again, as it were, and once some of us decided to start again, the whole premise was that the last band ended up being a 7-piece.
I think we had 8 at one point. Yeah, it was a monster.
And as we experimented more and more and more and more, we forgot about the song, as it were, and it was more about how can we make this performance exciting. So everything was building, everything was always. So the whole premise of Campfire Social, when we started it, we said every song we write, we should be able to sit down with an acoustic guitar at a campfire and sing that song, and it will be plausible and enjoyable. That was the premise then.
I would say that history is almost repeated slightly.
Yeah. And then we've had members from that band rejoin this band. We've expanded. We're now a 6-piece. It was a 3-piece when it started.
We've got some really talented friends, so it's good. It's good.
Yeah. And experimenting with your friends is fun, which is a weird thing to say.
I think I'm picking up what you're laying down, though. I'm feeling that. All right. Well, I read a description of your sound as encompassing 80s UK kitchen sink indie to Midwest emo of the aughts. I'd like to throw in the 90s Britpop sound of bands like Travis and The Verve. And on your EP, Everything Changed, maybe Sufjan Stevens on a couple of Red Bulls.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we have that in writing somewhere? That would be incredible.
Absolutely. I'll forward that right on to you.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
I'm sure Sufjan would appreciate that as well.
Oh my God. Incredible.
So what do you guys feel are the key ingredients to your sound?
Oh, that's really tough because it's kind of like, oh God, I'm gonna have a really weird off the cuff analogy, like a really big cake with like, but so many different things, so many different ingredients.
Yeah. Well, it is a collaborative. So even though on a large part, I'll write a song and bring it to everyone else, and they'll do what they do with it. I don't have a say in what they do to it. And I made sure
you try
that,
sometimes, but
I've made sure the same thing is the case for anyone else that writes a song and brings it to the group. No matter how it starts, it never ends where it begun, and therefore, with us all having our own influences and stuff, and quite varied influences.
Yeah,
I think the one thing I was mentioning before is the one thing we're all in love with emo music. So that shines through,
but then quite sad.
Yeah, but then everyone else is. It spans so far. The drummer is constantly trying to turn everything into a funk song.
I love that.
That's his vibe.
Yeah. It's a good vibe to have.
Yeah, we've all got very, like, there is one sort of thing that ties us together. Well, not one thing, that would be terrible, but there is like kind of that genre of like early noughties emo, like kind of self-deprecating, sort of that kind of music that ties us together. But then also like the relationships that we have with each other, and like, you know, we are a bit of a weird kind of family, I guess, in an odd way.
Mum and dad.
Yeah, yeah.
And kids.
I think that's it. Outside of those things, the influences of each individual member are really varied, but all as relevant as the next one. So it's a big old part of all sorts of stuff.
That's cool. I just had the old line, dropping the kids off at the pool.
That would be Chris.
I think Chris will drop the kids off at the pool. Yeah.
That's outstanding. No, that's cool. It's you know, it's nice to have a chosen family as well as
absolutely
a genetic family. So I grew up on classic British and American FM rock and punk rock and new wave. And it's interesting to hear echoes of that stuff in your music, but filtered through a whole generation of sounds that came after that. Do you guys feel that at all?
Absolutely. I love everything that you're saying. It's nice to speak to someone who gets it. It's good. I like that.
Great.
I think it's quite hard to articulate what we're doing. It's like some bands are just really, really confident about what genre they sit in, what they're trying to achieve. It's all very clear directives. And I think with us, sometimes it feels like, obviously we are a very DIY band, you know, we do as much of it that we can ourselves, but I think we kind of do it because of the feeling. So it's really hard to kind of compartmentalize anything that we're doing. So it's really difficult to actually explain to anyone and go, so this is what we do. Because when someone says like, oh, so what's the crack? And I'm just like, Tom, you're right.
I feel like you said with Sufjan Stevens before, I think this is something that he does perfectly. And it would, of course, be a lot easier for us to get playlisted on Spotify and stuff like that if we were easy to pigeonhole. And I do think that is to our detriment sometimes. But I've always thought if you can think of a theme or write the lyrics and then think of that as a movie and then turn the music into a score. So whatever the music is only to back up what is being said. And I think that you said Sufjan before, I think he does that perfectly. And that's my ethos.
It's like an emotion as opposed to like a particular type of song. It's like it's a feeling.
Right. It's kind of like screenwriting, right? Where you're writing for images, not necessarily, you know, like poetry or writing for the stage where it's all got to come out in the words. Yeah. No, that's cool. And you're right. Sufjan does a great job of creating that, you know, sort of cinematic pastiche, if you will.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I'm glad that you talked a little bit about being difficult to sort of categorize, because that was when I sat down to kind of like cook up a question, a bunch of questions that, typically people like to know, well, what do they sound like? And I'm like, they sound a little bit like that. You gotta hear it, man.
But you got to hear it as a good answer. Hopefully, would encourage people to listen.
So. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you really do. And speaking of that, your stuff, as I mentioned, really connected with me immediately. It sounds like a band that I want to be in. So maybe I can,
Probably can, because we're still only at 6 members. So
yeah, there's space.
Okay. I'll bring my sax to Austin with me.
Oh, please.
Oh my God. Oh, do you know that would be it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would fit in.
Oh,
I really do.
Like the cherry on top of that cake.
That I appreciate that. I fancy myself to be a bit of a cherry.
Yeah. I love that. Right. Okay. That's a deal.
Okay, great. Yeah. And so I got on a first name basis with the tunes on, they sound the same underwater. I was like, okay, this is Swim, this is Peter, this is George. So let's talk about some of the songs on They Sound the Same Underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Swim, Swim, Swum, as I mentioned, you have a really cool video of you guys performing that, but in a pool, which is cool. Yeah, and actually, I really like the nice English verb declension there. Swim, swam, swum. So
Thank you.
You guys obviously.
Most people have said, "Oh my God, that's such a mouthful and really difficult to get out quickly."
We have friends that run a comedy podcast. I say friends, ex work colleagues that run I can say friends.
Yeah.
I consider them friends. I don't know how they feel about me. They run a comedy podcast, and at the end of their show, every time they'll play a song from a band that sent a song in. And so we gave them Swim, Swam, Swum, and I think they spent more time mocking the name than playing the song. But
but I still felt validated by the fact that we got that airtime.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah, and clearly you passed your O levels, so
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
That's proof. But and it's got a really nice 90s power pop vibe, and the title suggests to me wisdom gained. I've been through this cycle, and this is what I've learned. I am nothing.
Wow. You really are going to get an A star on this. This is amazing.
Yeah, I like you.
But tell me a little bit about that track.
Yeah. Again, thank you. You just summed it up very much so. But that is a positive message song, despite the fact that it seems like a negative message.
It's hopeful.
Yeah, it's very much we use this imagery across the album of, I feel instantly like better if I can see the sea, and I think that's or swim in the sea would be even better. But it's the idea that you are nothing and therefore you don't matter. Could be an incredibly miserable idea, but it's not. It's looking at that in a positive manner is the premise of the song. It's almost religious.
I think it's kind of like, it's sort of the things that you feel are all encompassing are actually in the grand scheme really quite nothing, quite irrelevant. There's big wide world out there. There's loads of beauty out there. There's a big vast ocean that in relation to the car, the radiator going on the car on the way home today is not really, anything that big, I guess.
Yeah, and I like the idea of swimming in the ocean, and juxtaposed with that theme is like you're nothing because you're the small speck in this ocean, but you're now connected to this whole consciousness that the sea represents. You're in the sea, and somebody thousands of miles away is also there, and you're all in it together. So it's also another very collective sort of encompassing, welcoming connection.
I do think self-importance is a very big problem in society right now.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. We could blame lots of things for that,
Sure.
but I do think it is eye-opening and peaceful to realize that you are not important, and I think that's the premise of the song. Is that be nice.
Be nice
because that's
go for a swim,
because there's no point in anything else, and that's all you've got to give, really.
Yeah. Well, I need to take a picture of the back of my car of a bumper sticker on it that says "Just be nice."
Yes.
It could be an inside sleeve photo at some point. You know?
Love that.
All
So
right,
the album that you're doing sax on.
Okay, good, excellent.
Okay, cool. Cool.
I'm insinuating myself completely into this collective. So Patsy declined. When I saw the title, I was like, okay, I cannot wait to find out what this is about. And per the Patsy reset, you know, it's like this is what it's like when I actually fall to pieces.
Yeah.
You know, was kind of what I got. And it's a great pogoing tune, by the way. I put it on and my kids are jumping around and my wife loves 90s Britpop and she's just like, they have really not listening to the lyrics.
It could work in an aerobics class.
Yeah.
Maybe. We could branch out.
Yeah.
I see that happening. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I love the title. And again, that's something that, you know, I think really drew me in and I think will draw people in as well. Nice.
Worryingly enough, there's actually another band from the northwest of England.
They are like relatively close, I think.
That have also released a single with the same title, and we didn't know that.
Oh no!
And when we released it, they sent us a message saying, "Is this a cover of our song, or
I was like, never heard it,
or have you just ripped it off?" And my response to that was, "It's a pun. Well done for having the same idea."
Yeah.
But it's not a cover of their song.
It's not. No, it is an original.
Yeah, and we hadn't heard of them, but they are great. So that's nice. I don't know if they like us. I feel like they think that we purposely stole their song title.
But it's great, and it's nice someone else, you know, had the same vision, which is brilliant. Yeah.
There's many ways to find new bands. That's a new one on me.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you know, George is a marine biologist. Another great title. You guys are just awesome on titles. And again, the recurring themes of breathing and trying really resonate with me. It hits me right where I am these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a Seinfeld reference, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's
George. Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna have to dig back in.
He lies to a girl he went to college with because he's not got an impressive career, and says that he's a marine biologist, and then has to save a whale at the end of the episode.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
Very niche reference.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I would have got it. I would have felt much more part of the collective.
Oh no. You've got everything else. You're still on an A star.
Oh, thank you. And living, you mentioned, Tom, you know, things don't end up where they start as a rule. So living is a perfect example of that. You know, I'm like, because at first I'm sort of, this is nicely laid back and a Galaxy 500 sort of vibe. I'm like, and then wait a minute, nope, where are we going now? You know, and just when you think it's over, you're like Freebirding me. It's like, nope, we got more. And it seems like a great live song. I mean, it's dynamic as hell. You know, I can't wait to hear you guys play. Are you going to play it?
Probably not. I'm so sorry.
only on the basis that it's 7 minutes long.
It was a tough one to squeeze in. Yeah.
South by keeps it pretty tight.
Yeah, I think we have a 40-minute set that we could.
There is one set that we've got that I think is 40 minutes that we could drop to for. I think, well, to be fair, recently living has not been a problem. Previously, I've always really struggled to play it live because I get very emotional.
I bet.
These lot decided we had a show in Glasgow a little while back, and I think we just finished recording it, so it was all quite fresh, and everyone was like really feeling it. and we thought we'd got quite a short set time until we got to the venue, and they were like, oh yeah, man, you've got like 45 minutes to an hour. So all the boys in my absence decided that's what we're going to do. We're going to play live in. And I was like, I don't think I'm emotionally ready for playing that live just yet. But I got outnumbered in the voting because we are a democracy, and it, you know, didn't work on that occasion for me, but for the rest of them,
I think that,
and that was a tough show.
But maybe for that reason is the reason why it's always best if we don't plan to play it. So
yeah, I guess.
You may see it whether it's on the.
So you might get to witness that, and also my demise during South by.
Well, I'll be out in the crowd going, hey.
Thank you. Just throw a sax solo in and everything will be fine.
Well, as I mentioned, last year I had a chance to talk with HMS Morris, and they talked about how growing up in Wales influenced them as artists. Some of the most interesting music that I'm hearing these days is coming out of Wales. So what's going on over there? You know, what?
It's the water, I think.
There's plenty of that, right?
It is good water.
No, there is, and I'm going to blow smoke up Focus Wales. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
I'm sorry, which I do regularly, but I do actually believe this. There's so much good music in Wales at the moment. But there's also so much good music outside of Wales as well. The difference is in Wales, it's such a nurturing place for new music, and that is down to people like Focus Wales, Adam
like
Walton at the BBC Wales, and there are other places, like there are neighbouring towns to us that don't have that, or any of that infrastructure, and even something as small as, if I've got these great songs, if I can get playing them well, then I could get a set of Focus Wales, and that's exciting, and etc. 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 We're playing the Focus Wales show at New Colossus and South by.
Yeah,
we're incredibly lucky to have that as an infrastructure that would, because you could do it off your own back, but Andy's been a godsend.
I think what's nice is having that, particularly with the sort of frame of mind that we sit in, and kind of like some of the context of the music is that kind of slightly self-deprecating, like that lack of confidence as an adult that we had as children, that kind of diminished throughout the early teens, and now we've become really awkward and nervous and uncomfortable. To have somebody behind you that's really like, no, you can do this, you've got this, is like,
that isn't your mum and dad.
I mean, oh man, my mum is like one of our #1 fans. You know, when you get your little thing on Facebook and it's like your top fans, it's like Betty's always there, bless her. My dad not so much because he's not allowed on it. Yeah, but I think it's kind of that validation from people who know their shit as well. It's like these people are in the music industry, and they want to put Wales on the map, and they want to like take us under their wing and go, here you go, off into the big wide world. And it's really, really encouraging, and does knock a little bit of that self-doubt out the window at times, which is great. And it's the country of song.
That's exactly what they said. That's all verbatim.
We've got a reputation to live up to, so we'll do it. Yeah, we'll be proud of where we're from, and that's the thing as well. You know, the world's on fire at the moment, and I think one thing we're very lucky for in Wales is that the arts are still very valued, and that is really important, particularly when everything else is like, I don't even know how to explain that. You know, like to have that creative outlet is really important. Really important.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. So unfortunately, our bonfire seems to be burning out here. So I'm going to have to let you guys get ready to travel to the dystopian hellscape formerly known as the United States. So the band will be performing, as they mentioned, at the New Colossus Festival in New York this week, and then they'll be traveling to South by Southwest in Austin and performing at the Swan Dive on Monday night, March 10th, a fun venue.
Yeah.
And then at the Creek and Cave on Wednesday for the Focused Wales Showcase. So if you're going to be down there, check them out. And I'm Chris Bishop of 360 Degree Sound, and thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening to music from all angles. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.